Hello, I am Taya. Today I'm talking about acne. I used to have pretty bad acne like 3, 4, 5 years ago. For like 3 years, I'd say. It was varying degrees of bad, but I had pretty bad cystic acne. I developed a lot of scars. But for maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, my skin has been like perfect and perfectly clear. So don't worry, there is hope for you. You will have clear skin soon enough on the other side of whatever you are experiencing now. This is not a permanent fixture of who you are. Don't worry. I tried a lot of different things when I had acne. I tried changing my diet. I used a lot of different products. I went to the dermatologist to see, what advice they had. And I didn't ever want to go on Accutane. That just never felt right for me. I have always been more of like a natural person, and my family, I don't know, I just wasn't raised within that culture of taking a lot of medications. So that was never what felt like was right for me. Since things have changed, it's been really interesting to see specifically the interplay between emotions and acne. Because for me, I truly feel like my skin problems and what I was experiencing at the time emotionally really went hand in hand. Everyone might not feel this way, but because all of our bodies are different, but I figured it would be an interesting perspective to talk about, as it's not one that I've seen very commonly, and I know that there are a lot of people out there who have tried a lot of different things, so maybe this is the thing that you're looking for. So I want to give you some background on actually some emotional stuff for me. So the biggest emotion that I felt during the time that I had like a lot of acne was shame. And I also had a big fear of being seen, which makes sense. If you have acne, it's easy to feel like a little bit gross or like a little bit just uncomfortable with people seeing your face, because a lot of people have beautiful skin, and it's hard to feel like you look different, and it's such like a red sore, it's not really like the most beautiful thing you can look at, and it's really easy to feel negative about that. But fascinatingly enough, for me, shame and fear of being seen was not something that started when I got acne. It was probably one of the biggest negative emotions that I have struggled with since I was very young. But it got significantly worse when I came to high school because of certain experiences that I had. So from the time of being like a late sophomore until a senior, I would come to school and I would just not be excited. I felt just ashamed walking through those doors every single day, and it was a terrible repetition of like emotions. And even if I left school, I couldn't escape it at home either, because school is such a big part of your life at that point. But it was also so internal. I didn't just feel shame because of my experience. I also felt like I felt shame in high school because I thought people viewed me as gross. It was so reflected in my physical characteristics that I saw myself as gross. So yeah, for me, acne, shame, and the stress that shame causes really went hand in hand. And the fact that stress causes acne is not a new idea. This has been proven. Stress has immense effects on our entire body system, and it creates a lot of inflammation, and inflammation is the main thing that causes acne. So even if you are just feeling stressed, you can get acne. Or if you're a woman and you're having, or a man, and you're having a lot of hormone fluctuations, you can get acne as well. Our physical body is deeply intertwined with our emotional and our mental body as well. If you have done what you can with the physical aspects and you still haven't seen the results that you want, I highly recommend diving deeper into the mental aspects and the emotional aspects and analyzing what you have experienced during the time where you have had a lot of flare-ups and what kind of emotions and experiences it may be related to. At this point, I would like for you, if you haven't done this before, to take a moment to look at yourself in the mirror and try to identify, first of all, the emotions that come up when you look at your skin, and then the thoughts that accompany those emotions. I think for me, when I looked at my skin, I felt really hopeless. I felt angry. I felt sad. If there are any specific thoughts that come up, write them down. If not, that's okay. Just write down the feelings. Once you've done this, I want to bring some awareness to the fact that there is a negative cycle that you have with your skin. You get acne, you feel bad, you pick at your acne, you pay lots of attention to it, it consumes a lot of space in your mind, and then you get more of it. And then you repeat the cycle all over again. Well, this is not so weird, and it's not also so effective. It's effective at giving more attention to what we don't want, which is the acne. We are aggravating it more, putting more bacteria in there, and messing with it. What we need to do is to break this cycle. We need to break it both emotionally and physically. That is going to be the core solution to this problem. And in order to do that, we need to find a starting point, which is why I told you to look at yourself and find those feelings. I brought this up in another video of mine that I made. I think it was the last video that I made about body and how we can get into a negative pattern of thinking about our physical body. And this is basically the same technique, which is first of all to just training to feel neutral. And so instead of going to the mirror and picking our face and looking at it and feeling these negative thoughts, we need to just take a step and not do anything. And picking your skin it's such an addictive thing. I used to be like super addicted to doing it, but I think we all know that it's bad for us, and I don't know why it like relieves this stress. I think maybe like physically forcing something out of your skin that you don't like feels good, but it is a loop that is really bad because, like I said, when we pick our skin, we literally physically make it worse. And we can even argue that it's the same with energetics. There's this aspect, people say energy flows where attention goes. So if you're putting so much attention on your skin, then the universe or even your body is like, oh, this person likes paying so much attention to this, so we're gonna give them more of that. So how do we stop this negative cycle? Well, we have to start separating ourselves from the trigger. A first good step of separation is, like I said, neutrality. So looking at yourself and choosing not to react and choosing to be like, okay, I don't feel good about this, but it is what it is. If I do anything more, it's just gonna get worse. And something that I did I ended up in a situation where I actually just didn't have any mirrors around me by chance. I had one mirror, but it wasn't a good mirror to get stuck like picking. So I, by chance, just wasn't in a situation where I would pick my skin a lot. I'm gonna give some more context. So after I got out of high school, I felt the first level of separation between me and my identity as a person with acne. We have to realize that whenever something is going on and we're very emotionally attached to it, and we are emotionally attached to our acne, that's why we give it so much attention, because we don't like the way it makes us feel. But even if we don't like it, we are still attached to having it. Because if we weren't attached to having it, then we wouldn't care. We would just walk by the mirror and be like, oh, whatever. But the more time we spend looking at it and picking at it and thinking about it, that is how we can tell how attached we are to the idea that we have something or that we are something. In fact, during the time that I was in school, I totally identified myself with having acne. I was a person that had acne. I wasn't just Taya, and Taya maybe is a hormonal teenager, or Taya is stressed and she's getting acne, and who cares? It was like, oh my God, I have acne, and it's my whole self-worth is like reliant, is like hinging off the fact that I have acne, which also, gentle reality check. People don't care that much. And I'll say some people are rude about it, which is super unnecessary, but just ignore them. They're, I don't know, uncompassionate and don't know how to relate to people, which sucks for them. But as a person who now has clear skin, I promise you, it doesn't matter that much. And the bigger you make it feel to yourself, the worse, the longer it's gonna stay there, because you have to learn to let it go. You have to learn that having acne doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define your worth. It doesn't say anything about you. You are lovable as you are. And truly, if you can see it from another perspective, that's not you as the person experiencing this, you can see that it's really not that big of a deal. And even if you have a lot of pimples and you have redness everywhere and it feels really like a big deal for you, I understand and I'm sorry that that's what you're experiencing. And there are people who won't care still. They're gonna see through the fact that you have blemishes on your skin. It's something that a lot of people deal with. Now that we understand that probably all of us, or at least most of us, are identifying so much with this condition, more than we need to. It doesn't say anything about our identity, our personality, or what we're worth. We can start creating more separation between that. And so for me, when I was in high school, it felt like a constant repetition of that identity back to me. No one was really calling out that I had pimples or anything. It was just me in my mental loop, because I was in that high school for a lot of years and I trained myself to think the same thoughts over and over again. And for me, that place was just a location of shame and awkward high school feelings and stuff. So once I got out of it, my acne actually already quite significantly improved. And it was still kind of bad through like my first year of college, but it was a little bit better. Yeah, I was still very connected to who I was in high school, so that separation hadn't happened completely. And then I moved away to another country for a while, and I was completely disconnected from every single person basically that I had had in my life. And this was really difficult. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not worth it. But it did allow me to start identifying with new qualities and new thoughts about myself, because there wasn't anyone around me that reminded me of this old way of that I identified with. And also at that point, I lived in a house that had like I had 2 mirrors, and they were small and had like terrible lighting. So I never really went in there to like continue this habit of like picking and stuff. And I just completely forgot about the idea that I was so identified with having acne. And and then funny enough, it went away after 2 months of living here. I just looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was like, oh wait, I don't have any acne anymore. And all of my pimples are going away. And I didn't use any products. I I was vegan, but I was not a healthy vegan by any means. So I was having severe like stomach issues still, like that hadn't really changed. So I don't think it was the food really. I think it was just the fact that I released the idea of being someone who had acne, and I got space from the way that I kept feeling and identifying myself with. Doing the things like changing your diet can help you in separating yourself from the identity of having skin problems. I do think that can be helpful. But the main idea, like I've expressed, is really just to stop identifying with being a person with acne. And I know it seems probably kind of weird and like, really? Is this the answer? But our minds have so much more power than we have been taught and that we are aware of. And truly, if we keep giving attention to something and we keep thinking the thoughts of like, oh, I have to live my life by this and that. I have to live my life in XYZ way because I have acne. Then the more you keep basing your life around that problem, the bigger it's gonna get. Another thing that I didn't do that much is I didn't wear any makeup. I didn't really have a reason to. Second of all, it is better for your pores. You're not putting a bunch of stuff that's like getting into your skin, and your skin really is sensitive. It soaks up everything you put on it, so it's not really that healthy to be putting makeup with a lot of chemicals on it all the time. But I didn't put any makeup on it, and I let my skin just have a break. I just let it be. And I also stopped using like any products. I actually only washed my face with water for the majority of that time. And I guess I just put my trust into the fact that it would go away, because it will. And I'm gonna rebuke this idea of like at least 90% of what you're going through is caused by your mind. I had this moment with my constipation too, where I kept stressing about it and I kept feeling like, oh, like this is such a problem. And someone told me, you know, maybe if you stop stressing so much about it, it would go away. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I should try that. And I did. And it didn't completely go away because there's a lot of attachment still to this problem, because it's something that I've dealt with for a long time. But even just noticing that made it at least 60–70% better. So just becoming aware of the fact that your stress and your energy that you're giving to the idea of having a problem, it's not helping. So just let that go first. Because, so what happens basically is when we start getting acne, we don't really understand when it's gonna end because we haven't reached the end yet. And so we kind of get convinced in the moment that like this is what we're like forever. And for the longer period, and for as long as we keep believing this, we keep recreating the reality, because we keep getting stress over this new identity that we've gotten, which is that I am the acne person. But the fact is that it will end, and it will end even faster the more you can practice to let go of this identity. So yeah, I think that's basically all I have to say about it. And it might take a couple months, but let me know if anything changes and if you put any of those practices into your life, because I know it can feel hard if you have acne to not pick and to not wear makeup and, you know, not to stand in front of the mirror and like give in to the freaking release of like popping pimples and stuff. And I'm gonna tell you a secret. Notice I actually still love to squeeze my pores sometimes. And when I'm really stressed, I automatically, but it's like this weird crutch I have. But now that I have had clear skin for like 3 years, like that only happens rarely, like once a month and even less. And whenever I do it, I don't have this idea of like, oh, I'm going to squeeze my blackheads and then a whitehead is gonna pop up. Where when I had a lot of acne, I just thought, oh my God, I'm gonna squeeze it and I know I'm gonna have cysts and it's gonna be this and that. I think a lot of it is about what we expect. And our expectations are based on what we have experienced in the past, right? So the only reason that I was able to change my expectations was because I had a long amount of time where I didn't get acne. And so the best you can do to stop this cycle of expecting acne and identifying with it is to create some space, is to separate yourselves from the people and the situations or whatever you have attached to the idea that you are a person with acne. And yeah, and I mean, honestly, I think that's why so many people stop getting acne when they get out of high school and stuff, is because it's like, okay, refreshed. And a lot of people expect their acne to disappear as they get older, which is a reasonable expectation to have. So just start expecting new things. Start expecting it to change. And there definitely is an aspect of it that is hormonal and that can be diet based, and all of these physical things are valid as well. But I'm just here to give you another perspective that maybe you aren't so familiar with. But yeah, so I figured I'd wait. See? You can see that I used to have little scars. But it's nothing like very clear now. And still to this day, I actually only wash my face with water. I use like a little bit of lotion sometimes, but truly, and for my case, I don't believe that lotions and stuff is the solution. Our skin is fully capable of taking care of itself as it is. And lotions and products and stuff can be a fun addition, you know, if you want to. But they're by no means a necessity to just look good. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, and I know probably a lot of people feel very attached to the physical things that they believe they need, but maybe just try something different. I don't know. Water is pretty cleansing in and of itself, so yeah, that being said, yeah, it is also key to know, a slight side note with like the product stuff, like using any product will kind of imbalance the natural, like your natural system, right? If you put lotion on your face, it is going to, your skin adapts to your skin cleaning habits, right? So if you wash your face with water, your skin is will start producing the amount of oils it thinks it needs to protect its skin and to keep it nice, because it expects you to do the same thing tomorrow. So whenever you use like lotions and soaps and stuff like that, you're training your skin to create different amounts of oil and stuff like that. And honestly, I think I just like mine to be like as minimal as possible. And I think probably and I know an easy trap is to fall into a habit of trying different products. And I think at that point, you're probably doing too much to your skin. It's probably better to just stick to one thing, at least for longer periods of time, so your skin can actually become accustomed to it, rather than throwing it through this whole roller coaster of trying to adapt to way too many different things at the same time, and punishing our skin and putting on like really harsh creams and stuff. Like, I really don't think that's the solution. I think it's better to be gentle and to understand the core of why our skin is feeling this way and the emotions and stuff that is attached to it. Because the more frustrated we get, the more, or the less respect and happiness and love we treat our skin with. And how do you react when someone treats you disrespectfully and is frustrated and angry at you repetitively, that doesn't make you feel good. That doesn't make you feel like, you know, joyous and beautiful. It makes you feel beat down. And, you know, I know I'm personalizing skin right now, but it's objects, or this isn't even an object, it's an organ. It's an organ, and it's part of a human. It's like a part of an animal. You know, if you beat an animal, why would you think it would be your friend? Why do you think it would come and, like, you know, respond to you the way it wants to? It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad and exhausted that it's, you know, your body isn't messed up. Your body is trying to self-regulate itself. And our bodies are capable of healing. This is something we've known as kids. When we, you know, cut ourselves, and it heals. And your body isn't trying to, your skin isn't trying to destroy your life or punish you. It's just trying to get rid of toxins. And toxins can be caused by outside things such as bad food and bad water and smoking and other things. But the most potent type of toxins are the emotional toxins. The toxins that are caused by being consistently stressed. The toxins that are caused by consistently feeling negative emotions, consistently feeling ashamed and guilty and all this. Emotions are arguably, in my opinion, the most powerful energy, the most powerful forces that we have in our lives. Because what else? Because nothing controls us like our emotions. So hopefully this resonates with you, and I wish you all the best of luck. Know that one day you will feel happy. You can feel happy now. Don't worry. But one day you will have the clear skin that you want. And you deserve it, and your body is very capable of it, and you are not cursed, and you do not have to be stuck in this identity for the rest of your life. Okay. Kisses. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.